Hello, my loves of authentic power. Welcome to the Soul Aligned Sales Machine Masterclass. So, if you jump on, say hello. I'm generally always on time for everything in such a freaky way. I think I just set that intention a long time ago in my life. And like, no matter what chaos is happening in my world, which there's been a lot of chaos in my world, in my life, I will always be freakishly on time for things. It's so weird. But sometimes I do it like, I remember like a business partner of mine, like I was really late leaving from the airport, but I knew that we'd be on time, but it was a bit of a dash. And I remember him saying, because we were running down, to check in, and he was like, right, I'm booking the taxis and I get that you're always on time, but like this ability to have it like on this fine line is not that pleasurable. He preferred to be a lot more prepared ahead of time. Oh, time's a different subject, isn't it? We could do that in a different masterclass. Our relationship with time. Don't we always feel like we're running out of time? And isn't that one of the biggest pressures and lies? Anyway. So if you're jumping on, say hi. If not, I'm just going to give it a minute and go ahead with our masterclass. Soul Aligned Sales Machine. Actually, before I get into what I'm going to talk about, this is a really cool thing, right? Because for so many of us, the reason we don't show up for our work, well, there's so many things. I'm going to talk about some of them today, but one of them is like, needing the validation, which we're going to go into more. Like, how many people are going to show up, or feeling some kind of shame, or it matters, and the thing is, we're here for it to rely on momentum. So like, we have to trust in what we're doing and show up fully no matter what. I teach peak performance, and in my Visionary to Visionary course I teach about the new and the now, which is like holding a vision for your future and showing up in peak performance for your work today, because all you can do is your today work, right? Your guided work. And that you can't let the external factors, how much money you've got, how many people show up to your class, whatever, affect your performance. You've got to show up as if there's a million people in the room. You've got to show up as if they were paying you $10,000 each, or like that. You've got to show up at your best, and whatever those ideas are, show up for it fully that way, because one day the worlds will connect. Like, the existing reality becomes the vision reality. So like a big part of this is like not letting external circumstances control the value we give, the way we show up. Our excitement has to be there no matter what. I care about my work. I validate myself. I know it's powerful. It is not less powerful because less people showed up today, right? Because there's always going to be more people showing up, because my work is powerful, right? And it's the place to be. So we have to be in this kind of vibe, and that can be hard if we're constantly checking outside of us for results. How many people are showing up? Does it matter? Did I do it wrong? Am I wrong, right? Rather than fully trusting ourselves. So I like this example. For the first time since I've been online, I'm running a group at the moment which I love, and I'm so happy for, because it's completely right, but there's one person in it, that's all. I've never had one person in a group. I've always had more than that. And it's like, again, it's like, I know that course is so epic. I know it's so powerful. I'm showing up for it fully, and I'm blessed to be with that person. And it's so hard for us to feel like that when we're looking for the world to validate our work, when we're looking for, for the reasons why it's not working, which we're going to get into. But for now, we're going to be a soul-aligned sales machine, living on energy. I could have a little bit of fun with that. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today in this is doing things from soul is different from doing things purely from, doing things from soul means doing things from aligned strategy. It doesn't mean there's no strategy, right? It just means the strategy feels in alignment and in integrity with us, right? With our truth, with how we want to do it. Now, things can feel out of alignment, not because they're not right for us, right? Just because we haven't cleared out and healed our own blocks and trauma. So sometimes the feeling that something isn't right isn't because it isn't right. It could be in total soul alignment and alignment with our vision. It could just be because we need to heal some trauma. So I'm going to talk about that today too, right? But the first thing I wanted to, the first power move of operating from soul, which is different to trying to get people to buy something or using manipulative tactics and, you know, maybe trying to persuade them into something that isn't really soul aligned for you or for them. Because if you're coming from soul, then you're looking for people who are acting from their soul. That's why it's an energetic match, rather than, you know, you're coming from a different energy and needing the people who are victims to that manipulation, right? So when you're coming from soul, the one thing you have that is so much more powerful than any other kind of tactical way of doing it is you have the ability to deeply resonate with someone on such a deep level they will instantly buy from you. Many of the people who buy from me see one thing I post, right? I haven't ever seen them in my world before a lot of the time, but because I deeply resonate with them on such a level that it speaks to something inside of them and they know that I've got the wisdom. I couldn't be saying what I'm saying without really knowing what I'm talking about. And it's talking to an area of them where the resonance is there. So in typical sales training, what people will teach you is people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And that is true, right? Which is why, you know, it gives people that confirmation. It gives them a feeling of safety. But what I also know is when you deeply resonate, they don't have to have known you before. They don't even have to like you. They immediately trust you because resonance makes people move, right? Suddenly something ignited inside of them. They know you get it. They know you get it because you're talking from such a pure place that you couldn't say it otherwise, right? And everything is useful, but the importance of this is, especially as a healer, as a empath, as an entrepreneur, leader, leading from soul, is we don't have to get too hung up on our credentials, you know? They're the cherries on top. Now, you've got to be able to do a really good job of what you say you can, that's for sure. But, you know, like people that work with me, they have no idea often that I've been on the board director of 7 businesses outside of my own, that I've consulted some of the biggest brands on the planet, that I've worked with some major celebrities, right? They don't know that. They know, you know, some of them know, you know, don't even know like how much I've done in terms of my channeling and stuff. So like that just becomes a bonus, a cherry on top, because I can resonate. And that resonance is enough. So even if you're just starting out, you see, and you think, well, I haven't got all the credentials, why would they work with me, right? If you know what you can do and you're behind it energetically, then it's just coming from your soul, being willing to do that, talk from it, speak from it, act from it, choose aligned strategies around it that will create resonance. And resonance creates immediate movement. It's why people just jump into my world. I've had people buy programs from me and say, I did not understand the sales page, but I knew it was for me. The reason they didn't understand the sales page was because I was talking from a higher level of consciousness, right? But their soul understood that sales page. Their human didn't yet, right? But their soul did, because I was talking from a different level of consciousness. So it's not that the other things aren't useful. They are. They're bonuses. They're cherries on top. It's like, oh my goodness, and this, and this, and this. But my first job when I'm selling from soul is deep resonance. And that means being available for where my soul is guiding me to go with this, right? What am I guided to do? Not what I think I should do, not what everyone else is doing, not like what works on the internet. The first place is what feels in alignment with me. And in order to find that, we've got to get in touch with our values. We've got to think, well, what's important to me? And I'm going to lead us into more of that. And we've got to be able to demonstrate our values, because you don't have to, people don't have to like everything about you, and they don't have to agree with everything about you. But the resonance is also heightened when we can demonstrate our values to others, that they can see we're in integrity with values. I either share those values or they aspire to have them. So when you're the living, breathing embodiment of those values, right, and they are values they want to either adopt or they already live by, again, they're going to want to buy from you, right? And people will forgive the parts of you they don't like. They don't have to feel exactly the same as you. They have to feel like you can take them on a journey and get them to where they want to be, or there's a really good reason that aligns with them for them to buy, if it's a product, that product from you, right? So that's part of it. And the next thing I want you to think about is, like, and you can drop it in the comments, how do I feel about selling? Not from our thinking side, because our head will go, oh, I love it when I sell. I love it when I receive money. I love it. I love selling a lot of the time. Or it might not. It might say, ugh, I don't like the way it's done. Selling means I have to do things I don't want. So just write in the comments, how do you feel about selling? You know, because this is a big part of it. How does selling make me feel? Now, if your head is just like, well, I think it's great, I love selling, right, I've got no problem with it, then look at when you receive money from selling a product or service, what does your body do? Do you go into panic? Because I know for a while I did. I went into some kind of like, you know, like, because I felt a big responsibility, you know, to perform. So look at how you feel in your body, and we're going to go deeper into some of these ideas when you make a sale. Because there is like sales wounds and sales trauma, which I'm going to talk about. So once you know how you feel about selling, you know, does it feel exciting? Does it feel sustainable? Does it feel like just part of your daily life? Does it feel hard? Just get into the words around that and spend a few minutes just thinking about it. And we're going to go into some of the traumas around selling. So we're not going to do that quite yet, but just get clear on how you feel. Does it feel good? Do you feel you'd have to be something outside of your nature to sell? Like, for example, one of my clients was a real introvert, and she's like, I don't want to do live videos, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And I said, well, don't. You don't have to. We took her completely out of private coaching pretty much, which is all she did to start with, and into like these kind of intensive containers, because she loved working really closely with people, and we started like just doing it in a different way that suited her, and her income tripled, and so did her enjoyment of what she was doing. So there are no rules, but if you're not behind the way you're doing this, if you don't like it, if you don't feel it's a good expression of you, an extension of you, then we're going to resist it in our bodies. So the next thing to look at after you know how you feel about selling, think about good experiences you've had. You might want to journal on this after this. Think about bad experiences you've had. And then think about how you like to buy. How do you like to buy from people? And as a buyer, you know, we're all different. So, for example, I'm a very decisive person, which means, like, for example, if I go to the mall and go to, like, a clothing store, you know how the shop assistants come to your fitting room and they'll ask you if you need anything and if you need an opinion and to have a look at what you're wearing and all that stuff. Some people adore that, because to them that feels like real service, like I'm really being looked after here, right? I don't like it. And I don't like it particularly to go shopping with friends. I'm very decisive. I know exactly what I want and I go and get it. And for my work, I work with leaders, right? I do the trauma release sessions too. So I work with a lot of different types of people, but the majority of my work is for leaders here to create change, visionaries, right? Which means that they're going to have to lead themselves through the work we do. So I'm not going to nurture them into a decision. I'm going to present an opportunity, but I need them to press play, and I need them to be the one leading themselves through the work, because they're going to have to do the work in real life, you see. So think about yourself as a buyer, and then think about the kind of buyers you want. And because again, when we're like looking at the aligned sales process, it's like, well, how do I want people to buy from me? In what energy? Because the energy we want them to buy from us, it has to be compatible with the energy we're selling in. So for me, if I'm looking for leaders to make a decision, I can't be pushy and over the top in my sales process, because then I'm pushing them into a sale, and that's not the kind of person that I want in my high level containers. You know, I need people who are going to walk themselves through it. That doesn't mean I don't want to offer, though, a high level of service. This comes back to the values again. What are my aligned sales values? Because, you know, I want people to feel looked after in my world. I want them to feel special. I want them to feel completely taken care of. But in my world, not too mothered, so that they do take the decisions. And I know that I don't like too much fuss, but I love being taken care of and feeling that I'm completely supported. So I'm always very quick to reply to my clients. In all my containers, I get back very, very soon to people. But people don't understand how I managed to do that. I just do. I kind of shifted my concept of time, like I talked about at the beginning, and also my ability to be in contact with the people I do work with. So they have a very high level of support though, right? And I love that, because to me that's a beautiful service. So think about how you like to buy. Now, if I'm buying, like if I'm going to the department store and buying that dress, right? I don't want anyone in my way when I'm buying. Like, I don't want to be stopped from buying. So we've got to remember as well that our soul aligned people want to buy from us. They totally want to buy from us. I think a lot of us miss that, because a lot of the reason we feel icky sometimes about a sales process is because we think we've got to push people or manipulate them or pressure them, right, into buying. So think about how you don't want your buyers to feel, and think about how you do want them to feel. I want people to feel, when they buy from me, empowered. I want them to know that this is the move that changes things for me going forward. I have that kind of energy that I'm holding, right? Because I hold the energy of transformation, and I can unlock freedom for them. So like, I want them to feel expanded. I want them to feel like this is a power move, not something, you know, like, not like, you know, I want them to feel so good about spending that money. I want them to feel that they're empowered about spending that money. So think about how you don't want your buyers to feel and how you do. Knowing, and the thing, like the recode here is, people desperately want to buy from you, especially if you're selling from soul, because I do believe when we're soul aligned, there are people on the planet that are here for us. And while I'm talking about this, and we're going to go through a number of the traumas, but one thing that sort of trips people up is the kind of giving and receiving flow, right? So people feel frustrated because they feel like they're giving a load of value, they're on the internet, they're sharing stuff, they're providing value in the world, and they can get icky about maybe the people they're providing the value to aren't paying them, right? On a soul-aligned journey, where the money comes from might be different to the people who are receiving some of the value. And that can sound strange, but if I tell you this, then you'll understand what I mean by this. And this is a code that changes things for you. So see if you can embody this and understand it, because it's the truth. If you think of someone like Tony Robbins, right? He gives such a huge amount of value to the world. He shares his knowledge, events. He does so much to share information, educate, give people tools, right? And he has massively impacted the planet, right? But a lot of the people who receive his information and education, the value he gives, won't pay him anything. They may never go to one of his events. They may never buy a book or a program, right? But the people he does work with, I know he's over 1 million to work with as a private coach, right? So he's getting, you know, a huge amount of wealth back for the work, but it might not be through the same people that he's giving all the value to. So if we can get a bit freer around this concept, and let me know if it makes sense, so that we're not necessarily expecting the money back from the people who have enjoyed our work, that we see it as a much bigger energetic situation than that, that really the flow is there, right? So I give freely in ways that feel aligned to me. And I know that it will be rewarded, that there is the law of compensation. It will come back, but I don't need to get icky about those people. And I'm going to go into aligned pricing on this call as well. So there is that part of it. So we're thinking about how we like to buy. We want to be very intentional about the experience we want to create for people. You know, like if I'm talking to people's power all day, then of course they're going to be empowered around the sale, right? I'm not going to push them or coax them or need them to, you know, my people to take responsibility for that. And I love that. And it's empowering to both. I know for me, like there are times in my life where things are very, very hard. And, you know, the money I put into coaching programs, the money I could invest, you know, it was a power move for me. It changed things for me. It helped me remember who I was. So, you know, the buying is sacred. The sale is sacred. And you want to make sure you're supporting the transformation or whatever product or service you want to make sure you're cultivating the energetic around it that you want them to receive, right? Not just the thing that they're buying, but also the way they buy it is in alignment with that. So, what's next? So yeah, when you're the homework on that piece is looking at how you want buyers to feel, how you don't want them to feel, and getting into this alignment. Soul sales print, right? In my course, Elevate You, you do a brand print, and this is going to be my next piece that I'm going to run people through, which I do as part of it, but I haven't called it that before. So the customer journey is a customer journey. You know, it's like from the first minute they come across you to when they go through a transaction to when they experience either your product or service. It's a whole journey, and we want to be in alignment with the whole thing and feel good about the whole thing. Part of that is going to be releasing the blocks and the traumas, which I'm going to get into. So another piece is, I don't know if anyone's on, I can't even see. Another piece is aligned pricing, right? Now this is what trips people up as well. Like they get so in their head about this. But when we're selling from soul, again, the aligned price is the aligned price. And it kind of comes through, like, especially if you're like, you know, if you're aligned with what you're selling, you're aligned with your services, the aligned price, if you're a creator, is the aligned price that comes through that feels very strong in your solar plexus, which is your belly, like your power center. You could get your energy behind it. If you had to like broadcast it on the internet, you'd feel confident doing it. This is the aligned price, right? I can get behind it. I wouldn't need to cover it up. I don't feel like I'm being naughty little girl asking for that. This feels solid. This feels right. Now, sometimes the aligned price comes through and then we've got to work with our energy a bit to get behind it because we know it's the aligned price, but we've got some blocks. And sometimes it's not the aligned price and we're doing it because we think we should, or we're thinking about our goals or the bills we've got to pay, and that's interfering with the purity of the soul aligned price. So we want to make sure we're back, our energy is correct on this, right? Sometimes we get the aligned price through, but we've just got a little bit to get our energy behind it. And sometimes we're allowing these goals or what we've got to pay for distort that price for that product or that service, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to hit the goal, but when we work with soul, we work with the divine, you know, the way it is often very surprising. That's how we make room for the miracle, right? So the aligned price is very important because how we do like the buying and selling, giving and receiving energetic sequence, and how we position the aligned price is how the journey like kind of starts and often how it continues. So if we've done we've set a price, but we know our energy isn't truly behind it, and it doesn't matter how high or low it is, by the way. Like sometimes I do offers and they're low, right? They're much lower than what I've normally sold things for, but I get excited because it's the aligned price. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. Being able to offer this at this price, right? Which just like, it is insane, like can feel very exhilarating if it's true for that particular thing, that particular offer, right? So like my Lionsgate portal offer right now is insane. People pay $1,500 to go into my membership. This is going to give you the access, not live courses, but there are 2 live courses in it actually, the memberships, And you will get that for 88 a week at the moment while the Lionsgate offer is open, right? Now, it's not the same level of support. You don't get private coaching calls and group coaching calls in the same way as in the membership, but it's an insane price that I'm behind. It came through aligned. I liked it. It was fun. It was good. So if we start it in any kind of resentment, that resentment will carry through and we'll have to clean up our energy later. Have you ever had a client or sold something that you later felt like you did yourself a disservice, like you resented it? You felt that it was too low. That's not what we want to create, right? Because that energy just, it stays in our system. Again, it becomes a sales wound and we don't feel good about it. And often people on the receiving end will feel that energy. Resentment is a very tricky energy that people feel, right? Both ways. So we don't want to resent it. So we've got to honour the aligned price and we've got to unmesh what we've got to pay for from the right price for this service or product, right? My bills are separate. They're not my client's problem. They're my problem. You know, we've got to really unmesh our energy from that. So let's look at like some of the sales wounds and sales blocks that people typically have. Obviously, the first one is visibility, right? If you really think about it, I think Harv Eker talks about this in The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I haven't read that book for years, but I should reconnect with it because it's such a great one. But like he talks about how when people are, you know, so proud of their work, they want to shout it from the rooftops. It's like, like when you found out something, like you have a piece of information or you do something that transforms your life. You want to tell all your friends. You want people to know about this, right? But somehow, because we've got certain traumas, we don't feel this way about our work. We feel like we're being too much or we're being too bold or I shouldn't shout it from the rooftops. But, think about how easy it would be if you went on the diet that changed your life or whatever it was, right? You'd want your friends to know. You'd want to help them with it, right? And here we are as soul aligned people wanting to help people. Fundamentally, that's the main reason we're here, right? So this visibility wound doesn't make sense, right? Because we want to, well, I'm going to go into it because it does relate to the worthiness wound, but really we want to share this transformation. It's so exciting, the things that we can do. We want to share our magic. But for a lot of us, the visibility stuff will come from where we've been bullied, where we've been judged, where we've been invalidated in our life. And we've got to heal those traumas. It's a relationship, you see. Sales is a relationship and it's an intimate one. Because especially when you're soul aligned, right? You're selling a piece of you here. You're interacting in a deeper way than just like selling something that you don't care about from Amazon. You care about this. It means something about you, often in the work that I do and the work that my people do. So, we want to heal our own wounds. We want to look at in relationships, right? Where has it been unsafe to be seen? Where have I been judged? Where have I been invalidated? And we want to just go through and start releasing the traumas and recoding ourselves that it is safe. Safety with visibility. And that if something does come up to trigger us, we can handle it. And I do trauma release sessions with people because these are some of the biggest blocks that we have to heal, right? What does it mean to show up? What am I afraid of? What pain is associated with visibility, right? Or what do I think I'd have to do that's not in alignment with me, which again goes back to our values, right? So we've got that. And then we've got other, so another big wound is rejection. When people say no. And there's a couple of things that come into this. If we've got big rejection wounds, we're going to often be the people pleaser. And the people pleaser, by the way, is still a manipulative energy because it's not in our authentic power. So when I teach people authenticity, I teach them that authenticity is being true to who you are and true to what you want and need. Right? When we're people pleasing, we are manipulating because we're not being ourselves and we're not being true to ourselves. It's got a good intention. It's to keep us safe and make people like us, but still. And if we've got the rejection wound and the people pleasing stuff going on, then what are we going to do? We're going to drop our prices. We're going to overgive, and then we're going to resent our clients. So we don't want to do that. We want to heal that up. it is safe, again, it's a safety, coding for safety, for us to be rejected. It's safe for people to be able to choose. It doesn't mean anything about us and our work. It means nothing about what I'm here to do, right? The next wounding is abandonment. And this is a hard one, because if we're doing soul-aligned sales, then we're very connected to our people, our tribe, our audience, our clients, right? And, you know, it's kind of sad when people leave containers or not in our world anymore, because there are intimate relationships. So the abandonment wounding can make us push away sales because we don't want to be abandoned. And the thing with this is, again, it's just getting into our heart. No, this is part of what it is to be a heart-centered person, and letting people be free, getting into the higher intention of, it's so worth having a beautiful connection with someone, even if it's not forever. You know, there's so much joy and so much love in that, you know? So we don't have to be clingy, and we don't have to fear the abandonment, because there's always more people for us to meet and connect with, and we can honor the pain in missing someone without letting it, you know, energetically rejecting our good. So that's another one. The next wound and trauma I am talking about, is the receiving wound, which is all the money wounds as well, you know, like, and this one's very much related to our feeling of worth. So in my Money Magic course, it's all about healing our self-concept and our relationships, because really, like, our relationship with ourselves and others is why we will or will not receive. So the receiving wound, feeling unworthy of receiving. Now, some of this is ancestral trauma, because for some of us, you know, we may have suffered persecution wounds or attachment to suffering, or we've got the kind of witch wound or the martyrdom going on, which means that we think, you know, like, and again, like these very deep unconscious patterns around, like, it's not safe to be wealthy and spiritual, or all that stuff. But beyond that, it's just feeling worthy of compensation for something that just feels like being me, that doesn't feel hard, that doesn't, excuse the energy's moving, that doesn't, you know, like, it's rewiring that I get to operate from my soul-aligned work, and I get to receive very well from that, which is not what we've been taught to do, right? It's like what you like to do is a hobby, and work is a different thing. And you have to really hustle and grind and not be happy and not be true in that. You have to put your sort of heart aside and do things that make money, and things that make money, typically the coding is you have to do what you don't want to do to make money. So when we're moving into solar alignment and choosing to do what we love to make money, this is something we have to release the trauma in. So book in with me if you want a trauma release session, and accept. Now, you know, and also abundance follows social impact. Like I gave you the Tony Robbins example, but also if you think about someone like Mother Teresa, so people who say to me, yeah, but spiritual people and money, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Mother Teresa chose to live a certain lifestyle, not a luxurious one, but she attracted millions for her causes, right? That's how she was so valuable to the world. So money goes there as long as we're open to receive it. Right? But we have this code, and so I'm just going to release that now in this container, which is all about, like, you have to do things you don't want for money, and you don't get paid just for being you, doing what you love. And I'm just feel this energy and choose to accept it if you will. But like, that's a big shift for us. Feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling that's the biggest coding. I get to be paid for me and doing what I love. And not feeling like a naughty child, or not feeling like it's wrong in some way in a body level. So many of us are so numbed out, we don't even know how we feel. But all of our manifestations and all this stuff comes from our bodies, because our body is really living the subconscious feeling. So our conscious mind thinks we want tons of money. But, you know, in our bodies, it might not be true to us, because if it's not showing up, then energetically we've got resistance, right? So then we want to, like, feed and fuel. Once we've cleared some of this stuff up, become aware of it, become conscious of these patterns, seen where the wounds are, decided what, you know, getting really clarity is power, and clarity starts attracting a different energetic match to what we want, right? And then we decide, like, well, what is the experience I want with sales? What's the experience I want with money? What's the experience I want for people to have? What does it mean for all of us that I can do it this way? What am I an example of in the world by doing it this way, and a way that feels good to me? How does it feel when it feels good to me to do sales? What would I be doing? What would I be sharing? Right? How often do you hold back? Because, like, I know that I've done that before, where I felt like, well, I'm being a bit too much and I shouldn't be so salesy. And that doesn't make sense. It's just an idea. But actually, my heart wanted to share and share and share and share, right? Because again, if I just found the secret to life, I'd want to tell everyone about it. And I know my work's that good. So, like, of course I want to tell people. And of course that can be well received from the right energy. So, what else? You know, I think that's it. I can't see any comments. I was going to do some channeling on this, but aligned sales sprint. Soul aligned sales sprint is what I was saying. But you can post questions in the comments and I'll tune into a few things for you in your business and in your sales if you like. And the other thing I want to share is, yes, the Lionsgate offer will give you access to, I think it's 5 programs and 2 memberships, which are live. And also Elevate You. It's my signature program. I've been running it since 2017. I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world on the same process. We create a brand print. We put you deeper into your genius and purpose. It's the work I do with clients over and over again in deepening. It's something that a process that is so good to review and go over after a year or so. It's every 6 months to a year. Where we're really deep diving into our genius, our purpose, expanding our gifts, coming into the soul aligned strategy for the products and services that we are here on the planet to create, right? Connecting to our customers in ways that feel good, allowing the magic to come through, making money from being ourselves, expressing our truth, right? There's so much in that course. It's so powerful. It goes on for 12. You get access to the course and I coach you. If you do it one-on-one with me, which is what I'm offering at the moment, then you get 12 coaching calls as well. It changes everything. It doesn't matter if you're starting out, it works for leaders as well if you're in a job, because we can change it works for everyone. It's about elevating you to your next expression in this world, right? And there is so much in it that we cover. You can be starting out, you can be established, you can be wanting to go to your next level. It's the same process. I've done it with I've worked with so many great big leaders, and it's the same thing we go over. It's expanding into your next level of genius, connecting to your next level of heart. Our vision moves, right? Our impact moves, our influence moves. So whether you're starting out or you've been doing it for ages, there's another level of alignment, and Elevate You is all about that and so much more, right? So contact me about that. I hope you enjoyed this class. Any comments, let me know. Lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.